Yeah, and the problem, and using the boat club, let us suggest that we're forced to do that. You still cannot remove alcohol
From the building.
from you'd have to be on the apron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would get a catering permit.
Well, I thought we were talking about with some of the members of the club, the board of
We
governors,
can,
they
the
were
boat
talking
doesn't
about
have to
that.
supply the alcohol, we can
Okay.
just do it.
I think we moved past that. I think we're going
It's a lot
down
of,
the road.
All right.
it's just a little more work for us
Yeah.
to do.
Okay, so, but we are coming up on the window that we're talking about that John pointed out.
Yeah, once we have all
Do
the
you have,
papers
like,
in order,
can
they'll
you
bend over
reference it?
backwards to do it, to get us the permit because they want to.
Yeah, okay,
Even if we're a little late, a couple of days late submitting it.
great.
But,
Well-
better not to be. And it's really, that we can give the city a copy of the permit as soon as we receive it. We're gonna have to print it and post it anyway.
Do we want to just make this a dry event, if you wanna make it easier? Go for
Well,
it.
I also want to point out
People
that
can
we
bring
have
their own
sent out,
alcohol.
we've sent out in the press release and it's on the website that the Powerboat Association was going to be involved. So that's already been announced. I don't know if that matters. But,
I don't think it'll matter much. I think
all right, so we'll complete this permitting business by email. I'll CC everyone. And what else do we have to think about? We'll have the police, we have a police permit, no? Do they,
Why do it?
will they be on site? That's my question.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
That's in the mass gathering permit.
Oh, it is. Okay, so there will be a presence.
Just
I'm
light a
thinking
fire
about-
If you're asking.
I'm thinking about also assignments sort of within the board. That night, we'll have, people giving directions, general networking, keeping an eye on things. And someone might want a table for the survey.
Can I get one of those popsicle directionals?
I would love
I
that.
love that.
Now, if we
You
do
might
this
need help with
permit on our
marketing.
own, then we have to source the alcohol.
All right,
So
we're just gonna move on and we're gonna talk about it over email.
Okay, fine.
And we'll see, maybe, we'll talk about Powerboat, maybe if
I'm
Towards sourcing.
all right. So you saw my marketing email this morning, it's got the information, if you could help get the word out, that would be good, we want as many people there as possible. Free event, not all ages, but good for the community.
All
What's the rating?
are.
R.
But that's a parent's discretion.
That's a 50-year-old R.
So
we're
it should
separate.
be-
We're separating that.
all it needs is a terror rating.
I can't agree.
One other question, we may want to think about, I know Ace Hardware does a popcorn machine,
We have a popcorn machine.
who has one?
The movie people, I have a you might not say popcorn machine.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
That's amazing.
There's
So
a
they're gonna do that, what else do they do?
the inflatable screen, the speakers, the movie, and the popcorn machine.
Okay.
With ghee butter.
The
I don't have the ghee butter, but
They
if you
use
need
ghee.
ghee butter,
See,
No,
pre-salted.
that's what they use at story time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they
they told me they
use
don't
ghee.
use butter.
Great.
Yeah.
But there's a reason not to use it.
No, it's really good, I have to say.
I
Okay,
forget what it is. It doesn't work.
great.
So the
The
last note,
solids make it solid.
Yes, go ahead.
the last note about permits is, I just wanna flag that the, 4th of July weekend is, for the week, it's right before that, so we're gonna have, I'd like to get everything in before then, just because.
Yes,
um,
good
Not,
point.
I would not let this happen.
Good point.
Hudson Mile Race.
Wait, can I do 2 more notes on the movie?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're gonna talk about collaterals. Granted.
Oh, so it's 3 things. One, we have a banner. Nick and I are gonna put the sticker on Thursday and give it to the DPW on Friday.
2 banners.
We have 2 banners, yeah.
It's very exciting.
Where they're going on the usual places, Third and in front of Pro Printers.
No, I was doing Worth and Pro
Oh, okay.
Printers. Or I
Okay.
mean Worth and Third
Mhm.
to honor our Worth residents.
Okay. We have a lot of worth on Worth Street.
We do, we have 3 worthwhile banners.
Worthwhile location.
So we're gonna put the sticker on, bring it down to the garage on Friday, and hang it Monday. It's up through July 13th.
I'd just like to say that's a photo up for the website.
Okay,
Mhm.
we'll see if we can get a picture.
Nice.
Then the other thing we wanted to do is I created a poster, which I sent to you guys last night, which is just 8.5 by 11. I was just gonna print about 25 of them and put them up at like coffee shops and just around town
Good, good.
for people. And then the third thing is t-shirts. So you probably heard the chatter report. We have about 100 t-shirts coming that we are making through the Hudson screen printing place down at the warehouse. So we'll pick them up July 2nd. I will give each of you a t-shirt of your choosing to wear that day. If
Okay.
you like. Of course, you can opt out of uniforms. But then we need someone to possibly sell the t-shirts the day of, like at a table. So A, we need a folding table. And B, we need a way to collect money.
Could we have a business survey and a t-shirt sales all at one location so we can snag people for that?
Yeah.
And, you suggested a Venmo situation?
Yeah, like you can make a little Venmo thing on your phone
Scanner.
that's like a QR code and then someone take a picture of it and
Yeah.
just pay
We're
you.
gonna do the same for booze, beer, you mean you're gonna have to Venmo your beer?
Well, I hadn't anticipated that Hudson Powerboat wasn't doing it until like 8 minutes ago, so I hadn't thought.
Well, I didn't, I was unaware of it either, I didn't know did Pete,
Ryan
those
is-
guys wanna pull it, they wanna pull it, or they just?
No, I just don't see any reason to complicate things.
Yeah, keep it
Necessarily.
simple. Ryan,
Fair enough.
Ryan is a board candidate, he has a comment.
One of the challenges with Venmo is that it will require confirmation
With it,
because it's a,
I think you can bypass it though.
Okay.
You can
the other
bypass
option is to do just a short-term Shopify store.
Yeah, which you need the little card reader, right?
Card reader, I have extras that we could use. You can also just get a free
I'm
one.
hoping you're a board member by the time this event happens. Put you at that station.
You can sign up and get a free one as well. And, and then you can just do a short-term, like a 30-day trial, cancel the account afterwards,
Perfect.
just need the EIN.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay.
This is
The
this
same
is
could be-
just a new
The same
conversation.
could be used for alcohol as well.
I have a folding table.
Can we borrow it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Done.
Done? Jess?
Okay,
On to running
on to running.
the next day.
So,
Don't drink too much because you'll have to run a mile the next day.
exactly.
Ready?
Okay, so a little update on the Hudson Mile. Their group has raised about a third of the money that they need already. They're waiting on funding decisions from Spark and Hannaford Church. So that's, they're potentially, they've had positive conversations with them, so hopefully they'll put in some money. Local businesses like Talbot and Harding and Padrona and Union Brewing and Hannaford are stepping up with monetary support and water and snacks and post-race drink discounts. So if you know anybody who wants to do that, we should send them their way. The new running store on Warren, I believe it's called Neighbor, is their inaugural corporate sponsor.
There's a running store on Warren Street.
Brand new.
Where did you have the address?
Where about?
It's.
It's like 300 blocks.
You need a running store?
Get ready, Nick,
It's right
we're
next to
gonna
the-
get you out there on the
It's
road.
in the building with River, it's right next to that.
Oh,
It's
okay,
in that
that's
new
200.
building.
Yeah,
That's on my.
River, it's next to River.
Yeah.
It's a pots and pans store in River.
Oh,
Ah,
So
American made.
I don't know if anyone knows John Boca. He's a professional race organizer who agreed to be a sponsor and help with fundraising, and he's really excited about the race. Rich Volo is checking to see what funds remain in the council's tourism fund to offer.
What do they need money for?
They're covering the prizes for the race, the creation of the website and materials, and they have to pay for the timers and the
Are there
official race
t-shirts?
people.
Are they making t-shirts too?
They are doing that on their own because we didn't have this exempt
Okay,
certificate by the time they wanted to get the merch. So they are doing hats. That wasn't in their original budget. Maybe it'll be covered by the contingency.
Are we reaching out to personal trainers at local gyms?
We should reach out to some of the gyms.
Yeah, definitely.
and is it one race, like all ages, all at the same time throwing elbows?
No, it goes off
it's
the
three.
beach, yes.
It's three. And they have a bunch of youth groups. They have Perfect 10, Kites Nest, potentially Friends of Hudson Youth, have runners that are going to come and join. So that's good. They're doing their outreach there. And they have quite a few people coming in to do race and.
I was
so-
very impressed with their graphics, how they put the look of the thing together.
Yeah,
The website's
it looks really good.
Yeah.
Well, Jorge Pardo, who is the event organizer, is a graphic designer. He's really
Okay.
good.
It shows.
So I sent the link to the information on our website, which is good kind of cross-promotional stuff. Do you want to send out that to people that you know would be interested or businesses that are sponsored? The better this event looks in general, it looks good for us. So let's try to make it successful. Okay, any questions about it? Nope, I have, okay. So moving on really quickly, we talked about potentially partnering with HBC. I met with Billy Blowers, and they might partner with us in the early fall to go and do some targeted focus groups with specific businesses. And so we're gonna talk about that, you know, as a kind of an ongoing relationship with them. Let's see, the business bowl, I kind of skipped over that.
That's okay. Can I interject about HBC? So HBC has been going through a transition. Alex stepped down and Billy was appointed the new chair. In the past, we have had a membership with HBC. And it's the membership, affiliate membership is, I want to say $1,200. I think that we should reconsider how we work with HBC. I don't necessarily think we need to be a member of HBC because we are not a business, we're a 501c3, just pointed that out to me yesterday. I remembered. And I think that, you know, we could help them in ways that our mission asks us to, which would keep us in a non-membership way, but a partnership way. And so they have been, they sent me a bill to re-sign up to my own personal, you know, PayPal account, which I didn't pay. And now their email list is pretty extensive of what businesses, but there's a little bit of flux in that whole organization, and I think we could better help them going forward. Once they get their feet on the ground, I think we could better help them if we collaborate more and not just pay them $1,200 for, I don't know what that would do for us. I don't think it's right for our mission either. So if everybody's okay with that, we're not gonna take a membership, yeah.
I mean, there's been no there for the longest time. I hate to malign it, but it needs to get its act together.
Well, it could be very powerful.
could be powerful,
If we could find a way to.
You gotta
help
get
them.
merchants all in one room and get you all on the same
Yeah,
page.
yeah,
Yeah, so, please send out the survey as much as you can.
Yeah.
To get the best information, push it out.
Can we make a QR code and a little card that we could pass out to people that would take them right to the survey?
Yes, there's a QR code at the end of the email I sent this morning that you
Right.
can
We
open.
should just
put it on
print
the card?
that out.
Anyone,
Yeah.
if you just print it out,
Okay.
but we can make a card, certainly should for events to have it.
I mean, it would be good to have something that's just sort of a catchy headline that says, you know, take the survey, make a difference or something.
You just need to put it up in, I think we should put it up in some of the coffee shops too.
Hudson Roaster, yeah.
Just to, I
For
mean,
sure.
just to get, not just the folks who are on Warren Street who have brick and mortar, but individual business
Yeah, yeah.
owners who
Well-
have.
Great point, Kyle, and we need to schedule our Warren Strut slash business strut. So, let's figure out a time when we can do that, maybe when it's not boiling hot, when we can kind of walk around and talk to people.
Yeah, so, I mean, we originally had said, like this Thursday, Friday, that it's probably either raining or boiling hot, so.
Yeah, well, we've got kind of through July, so
Okay.
maybe we should for the first week of July, just before the holiday. Hopefully it won't
So
be,
next week.
yeah, that is next week.
You mean the first and second and third right here? Yeah.
I mean, Fridays, most people are happy getting Friday off, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
All right, well, let's find a time, and I know Andrew's not back till mid.
He's back in the middle of July. I saw him this morning, and he's really concerned that we all have to work to get the turnout, because he really wants it to be a strong,
Yeah.
a strong number.
Yeah.
I've emailed it to 2 business owners.
Huh?
I emailed it out. and
Yeah.
Forwarded.
Yeah.
Because you wrote the email for me. It's easy.
Good. Okay.
All right, so, let's check here, okay. So next steps for our programs and initiatives. We know that we'll be reinitiating the business roundtable discussions in
yes.
early September with the survey results, which Chris will talk about in a bit. We have the new city spaces working title committee, which Tom and Brett have agreed to work on. So we're gonna convene and talk about ideas for things we can do in the near future.
Thank you, it's great.
And we'll hear from Kyle today about microlending,
Mhm.
which would be a sort of a long game program for next year, optimistically, if we choose to pursue it. And there are grants available through the CFA for that kind of program. So if we decide that we want to go for it, I would suggest we might talk about that. We'll come back after we talk about what you have to say.
So are the grants for the organization of that, or?
There are two types.
Okay.
There's one that it is for capacity and infrastructure and technology.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there are a couple ways to go about it. There's Empire State Development and
Yes.
this new Regional Economic Development Council initiative called Achieve, which is new for 2025, which has this microlending idea in it. So I think we should talk about that.
Okay,
What's it
Okay.
called?
Achieve,
Oh, Achieve.
it stands for Advancing Collaboration for High Impact Initiatives for Economic Visions and Expansion.
That doesn't spell Achieve.
And it's brand new 2025. So it seems promising.
what's called?
Is it a fund?
It's part of the CFA, New York State
Oh,
monies.
gotta go.
So it's a new initiative. But we'll see if if we want to go forward and if it's right, I'd love to submit that application. Which by the way is due July 31st. So, but remember, we can clone our application from last year. And so a lot of that legwork is done. We just have to write the narrative about, sustaining and supporting local business and entrepreneurs.
And make sure you mention yourself, because we
Yes.
didn't have any
Growing
infrastructure.
capacity, yes. Okay, so there's that. I think that's all. I think we can move on.
Okay. I have to double back because I skipped right over the approval of the May minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
technical error. So as everyone have a chance to read the May minutes, and would anyone like to make a motion to approve them?
I make that motion.
Paul, second?
Second.
Kyle, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So I'm moving on to Ryan Curran, who is a candidate for board membership. I circulated his CV in the email, so I hope you all had a chance to review it. Very nice typographical treatment, thank you very much at the top. I was introduced to Ryan by Kate and Mona Talbot, who hired him to join the catering operation when they moved into their new building. We went to a few parties where we overlapped and we chatted and talked about how we should be getting together and well, ultimately we did. I observed him orchestrating Thanksgiving pickups at Talbot Martin, and I'm telling you, this is like an orchestra of craziness that he had totally under control. A small pop-up tent, boxes with numbers, people waiting in a long queue because nobody cooks anymore, and picking up pies. And is my pumpkin pie in there? I didn't order. I think I need more. I mean, it was like it would have made anyone in here skip all. But he did a beautiful job. And only one turkey didn't get delivered, and I think you drove it there, right? Something like that. He recently purchased a building on Warren Street and is opening Hudson Dry in the fall. When our board member Kristen turned off, she was sort of our hospitality restaurant guru, and we all felt that the nominating committee and the executive committee that it would be necessary for us, given the hospitality component of Hudson, for someone to take her place, certainly in that role. Ryan met with a group of our board members in the nominating committee about 3 weeks ago, and we all left the experience feeling he would be a very good candidate for the board. He's a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. He's worked and run his own restaurant and prepared food businesses. He's worked in San Francisco and in New York in some of the finest restaurants, chef-run restaurants in America. And he has a lot of good stories about dining and hospitality that are, second to none. He's very committed to Hudson. That comes across if you spend time with him. He has some ideas on how to make it easier for people to start businesses in Hudson and get through the experience of doing that, which we talked about earlier in another meeting. So that would be a really good thing for us to collaborate with him on. And he's excited to participate in our mission, which is important. I find him very collaborative, very positive, and I think he'll add a lot to our work. So does anyone want to interrogate Brian? Does anybody want to ask him a question?
What's your shop?
Hudson Dry is a zero-proof bottle shop. Yeah, first in the Hudson Valley. Yeah.
Which is a huge category now in the
Yes,
hospitality
absolutely.
world. So it's a beautiful building. He's renovating it and also improving it because there were some structural issues on one side of the building. And it's going to be a really wonderful location for both buying non-alcoholic spirits, but also events, pourings and tastings and all kinds of things that bring people to Warren Street in his shop. So
Do you wanna have a table at movie night?
We actually, I mentioned that to Christina, I'd love to, yeah.
Great.
Oh, they don't.
Do you have a folded table? We only have one.
I do have full
Great,
tables,
great.
yeah.
Okay, great.
So can I have a
have you? I'm more married.
And I'm happy to assist with any of the alcohol side of things as well. I do have vendors that, with the temporary license, I could assist with as well,
Right.
so.
So,
And I will say, I tried some of the non-alcoholic
I know.
bubbly, and it was really quite good.
It was
It very-
rosé.
I love
it
those.
was really
So I
good.
can't wait to see what else about.
Delicious.
Great, you'll never even know.
Because I-
Go on.
can I have a motion to put,
Oh,
Brian,
we have to go anywhere.
or do we go into executive?
Oh, Ryan, I think you have to walk out.
He's gotta get out of here.
Yeah, like, hold on.
We'll call you back.
I only have one thing on the minutes for that. I'm not sure if that's correct.
Any comments?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay,
Acclamation.
any opposed?
No.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Uh-oh,
It's fast.
now you're in for it.
This is how we rubber stamp.
Okay, so you're gonna work on the record side of that.
Great.
Okay, good.
We're putting you to work.
Okay.
Yeah, right away, he's off the blocks, right away.
First job.
Okay, so let's move into future business. Events and survey, we need to coordinate how we all push towards the survey and the movie night and the mile. We'll be coordinating with you on that as we go forward, not much more to say about that. We did do roundtables, business roundtables last year I asked HDC to HBC to collaborate with the chamber. We had a meeting in this room to try to put together a list of people that we might want to come and talk. The two most successful talks we had in the business roundtables were the gentleman who is in charge of tourism for the organization that does tourism for New York State, very informative. He had very good information on Hudson, on Columbia County, on the number of $57 million that comes here, sales tax and all of that. Plus he had some other interesting models of how towns attract tourism, and it's something for the whole city, the residents and businesses. It's not just for the businesses. So he was very successful. A lot of people came to that, and they're still using the materials that he circulated. And also, we had a gentleman come and talk about employment in Columbia County and how difficult that can be. And he was very well attended. Then it became difficult for us to find another person and I thought the chamber would maybe have some businesses that had joined them that we could use as a spokesperson, but no one really came to the fore to do that. So I think we're gonna try to relaunch it again with HBC as a partner. And the first thing out of the gate, I would recommend maybe be about the survey, because we can talk that up really big, and there'll be certainly a lot of findings as a result of that, and maybe Andrew can help us present the findings in the best possible light of what, and the good and the bad. But I think that should be the first one, and we're targeting that, I think, for the end of August, before, or maybe September. And then, in the next period of time, we should be bringing ideas forward that will come into your head about things that we should be doing from now through December. Next year is our 50th anniversary, and we're gonna need to, we're gonna want to have something underway that we can point to as a very good effort. So that's all that I have there. Let's move on to the pitch deck. Wow,
I sent the email.
I'm just
she's going there.
finding it, I'm trying
I
to.
might be able to connect to that.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a stick?
Are you both on Apple?
No, this is, I can connect to this via Bluetooth. If someone who has a remote, needs to allow me.
Which do you need?
Hit OK.
Just hit allow.
Okay, unknown.
It's a good
Wow, unknown. Carla, I just shocked.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not.
Is the second button in the right, is that a screen?
What time is it? What time is it?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Okay, so,
What do you say?
Click OK again. See that?
I'm stopping.
Oops.
I just.
Is that you?
No, it's not. Presentation one.
What?
Maybe it's just more helpful just to put it up on screen.
The rock.
Who was it? What a strange hairstyle.
Like, just like that side. Just like.
Stop the cross.
That new pickup just came in. Oh, God.
I know.
I know, okay.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, right.
Kyle, what are you
Yeah.
trying to do to us?
I'm just trying to get technology.
Jen.
Hey, Jim.
All right, I mean, for those who, I just sent it out, if we wanna,
You wanna just talk it?
yeah, I'll just talk through it.
It's pretty straightforward.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for understanding.
Did it go out with the-
so, yeah, we'll just,
Yeah,
Jump
just
into it.
start, and I'm gonna try to just go to my other
Okay.
Gmail and get it.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and by all means, so this was just for the group, I had a couple of minutes to get through this, so that's why I just pulled a couple of slides together just to
Yeah.
set the conversation. I think, I think what we're trying to solve for is exploring the viability, potential impact of establishing / structuring some sort of program that could enable businesses and facilitate economic development through micro lending, essentially. And the reason I say that is like, there are a number of different types of models that we could look to employ that could help meet this objective. I think we need to do some work to understand what that could be, right? Some things are popping up left, right, and center, like this Achieve is another example, right? Columbia County has done something, a little bit of research with the help of ChatGPT on our walk. I mean, there are funds that facilitate this, this type of, offers this type of lending. So there are different vehicles that we could structure, programs that we could establish to do this. There's still a significant, I should say, there are a number of challenges that present themselves and still thinking about setting this thing up. And we'll explore that, we'll talk about that in a couple of slides. So, just to and don't want to be a naysayer, don't want to be a blocker, but I think it's important that we be realistic about this. Because one, there are just massive hurdles in establishing this. Two, there is significant financial risk that we need to manage, right? So yeah, I think one, let's talk about ideas of way this could work. Two, let's talk. Discussion points once. I just like the, please.
Just a quick, I mean, but what, using our example, when HDC, when we had no money.
Yeah.
We borrowed property as collateral and they loaned us money. Would we not have that kind of protection, let's say? I mean, we'd have to vet our.
That's one of the
potential.
questions. I mean, if you
Well,
have
that's what I'm
secured,
asking,
if you have secured loans,
Secured
then arguably an interest rate can be somewhat lower. Unsecured loans might be higher. Of course, I mean, the problem with that is that it's counterintuitive to need, right? Because if you have no security, then you're paying higher interest rates that you probably can't afford. You're not using, you're not accreting capital in order to acquire assets.
This is credit risk through and through, I see. But this is credit risk through and through, and that's a material, as John points out, like that's a material decision that we have to go through. There are lots of offshoots about again, how we're going to, one, what's going to be an acceptable amount of credit risk that we want to take on here, but two, how would we cover and ensure that, right, and care for that credit risk, that exposure financially. And then that one, and managing that credit risk is a massive, like double, I mean, it's a big one, so please don't.
One of the things is that the county Economic Development Corporation only gives money against equipment.
Yeah.
So you can distinguish this one from them by having a different model. Secondly, my sense of local business is that not enough of them actually plan ahead of time before there's even equipment involved.
Yeah.
So if you can make loans for business plans, which wouldn't be that much money, but it would sort of decrease the risk.
Yeah.
That if somebody comes to you with a project, then they actually find out it's the way it's gonna work. We've seen too many of those.
Yeah.
fail here.
I mean, that, like, from a, that point, so one, your first point, gets to probably the last slide on here, where it's like, how do we take this forward, how do we differentiate ourselves?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to, in consulting, we have it's called DC, mutually exclusive collectively exhaustive. We don't want to do something that they do just down the street, right? So, but two, like, Tom, I think that's the value and the power of us, this group support the business models that they constantly approach the value add. Like, yeah, we might have $1,000 that we can lend you at, X% rate, certain duration period of time, but you're also going to have access to this group, right? So there's a business model that we can attach to that. That could be a premium. We could have a premium for that. So there's a lot of things to consider.
And require it in some circumstances.
100%. But I think there, in and of itself, starts to like beg the discussion around, this is a whole business. This is a business that we've effectively been standing up, not a nonprofit. Like, we use nonprofit, but like, we need full-time staff to do this. We need, or we would employ someone else to, again, so that's part of the thinking about the operating model, and what this interaction model could be, because the SBA, which typically facilitates and does give quite a bit of money to, and frameworks and risk profiles that can help you do this, there still requires, there's a lot of onus on the organization that's driving this. And so it's a lot of things to think about.
I think we would want to talk to Martha about that component too, because they've been doing that for years with SBA, and that they would, if we want to be different than them,
Yes.
and that's good that they only do.
SBA is up towards the higher end too,
Yeah, yeah.
because the
Yeah.
transaction
Bigger.
costs of an SBA loan are fairly significant for small
Yeah.
business. I think we might spend some time looking at other business development corporations and how they might be doing small lending, or like how Kiva does small lending, to understand what, I mean, those folks have gone through this, and so they've,
Yeah,
sliced and diced the market. They've come up with products and policies
What worked and
that
what
are
didn't.
protecting them, but also
Yeah.
allowing them to accept whatever bit of risk that they're willing to take. And maybe take a look at those.
Yeah.
And then compare them to give ourselves some sort of a basis for understanding it.
Yeah.
I think talking to Martha is great too, and I think they partner, right? They
they do,
partner
no, they do.
with Bank of Greene County, I believe,
Yeah,
as the underwriter, and then the SBA guarantees it, and then they facilitate it, which basically puts them in this business development corporation model as well.
I mean, that's the, that's what I'm trying to get to, is like, what the interaction model, basically
Yeah.
the structure that we need to establish. There's a lot of design decisions that go into that.
Well, like Martha works full-time as a job too.
well, like he says, it
So
would
yes,
require
it's
staff.
obviously established that you need a staff member that
Like-
is fully
Well-
salaried to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, so completely agree. That's like, those are the things that we need to consider.
Unless CEDC, we set up our own product, but CEDC manages it for us, and we pay them an admin fee, the administration.
That, again, potential, that's a potential offshoot of an interaction model, like that.
And I would- And I would think we would probably, starting out, have a ceiling that we would not exceed, or at least have a fund of some money. I almost think when I look back at some of the old notes of 50 years ago, when HDC gave money, 5,000 here, local businesses on the street, I don't know how many were not repaid, but it would almost as though, it appeared that they had almost a sacrificial pool where they were knowing full
Well,
well.
you have to accept a certain amount of bad debt. If you're gonna be in the, in putting your money on the street, some of it's not gonna come back.
But we're gonna have a pretty limited focus too. We're gonna be Hudson.
So, I mean, so it's a good segue into the next slide, if those were following the screen. Like, the considerations that we need to look at, specifically the risks, are, right, you're talking about credit risk, but like, there's a lot of double clicks into that, but forgive I'm a recovering consultant, so. Credit,
He's
you're
drilling
talking
down.
about credit underwriting, there's portfolio, you're talking about portfolio management, we need to talk about write-offs. We would need to talk about how we would manage that bad debt, right? You're talking about collections. Just because someone pays us, they might pay us 65 days behind, right? So there's managing late fees, et cetera. So there's, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
There's execution risk. So what I mean by execution risk is, right, we're already calling out a lot of hurdles that we need to jump through. There's significant investment up front that would be required for us from a legal perspective. There's probably a consultative piece here that someone to drive this is going to pull on Jess or anybody else who's going to be, so from a resourcing perspective, we really need to dig into that. Two other things that we need to think about are the regulatory risks. Again, the interaction model can help mitigate some of these risks, but there's a significant overhead around the SBA, right? State, federal compliance that we need to think through. A lot of tax, right? And then there's also the legal compliance, which is the last big one, which is AML, KYC, so anti-money laundering, know your customer, sanctions, sanction screening, managing those disputes or challenges, issues, et cetera. So, which is and those are it's called legal compliance because you'll go to jail for it.
Okay.
So it's we have to do those things right. So other points of consideration, I've talked about funding, I've talked about some of the challenges, timelines, we talked about this over the next, say 12 months, that's aggressive. I think it would be aggressive, maybe I could be wrong, but yeah. So maybe the last slide would be just things, how do we carry this forward? Because I don't want to, sorry, I am a risk guy, so I do look at what the potential downside, but with risk, there's always potential upside as well. And I think that this, it sounds like the CDC is seeing a lot of benefit from this, but they're quite narrow in the scope of who they're targeting. This could offer, and I've heard a lot of wonderful success stories, and frankly, even very profitable funds have grown to be able to help expand their targeted group. So there is a lot of opportunity with this as well. So don't let me be the risk guy.
Risk you out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I do think there's a decision's required from today. I think it's do we want to continue exploring and digging into this further? I don't hear a resounding no, we shouldn't moving further. So that's a yes.
Yes.
I think then the next question would be, I think a conversation with Martha would be the first step.
Yeah.
Understanding, and I would ask, because a lot of this is going to happen throughout the business day, which I'm stretched on capacity right now.
Yes, yes.
So, especially with everything going on. So I'd ask Jess for some help. Maybe I can connect to find some time with Martha, probably over the next month. And then I think we'll have some research to do after that.
Yeah, we do.
I do have a question. So I do envision this as a sort of smaller scale program.
Yeah.
And I agree with everything you're saying. I wonder, does it change the frame of it if we talk about a fund instead of a lending program? So a fund that's capped, that, I mean, we definitely want to tie this to the survey. And it's too early to tell what the full results will be, but we're it's definitely showing that the main concerns for business owners are the slow business times in the winter and the high cost of real estate. And we've talked about perhaps covering rent for businesses when they're in trouble, or helping
Bridge
businesses
loan in a slow time.
in the slow time. So if that was a fund instead of a lending program, would it change, would it make it easier?
Only if you don't expect to be paid back.
Well, the fund, so what you're talking, you're saying a fund, we would want it earmarked, right? We're not gonna just say, we have X dollars to be able to set aside, that's for our balance sheet. It's more so, to what you're saying, Jess, is our risk appetite, the amount that we're willing to quote unquote lose would be X dollars, and we move that aside. Then, and I don't know how this works with the SBA. Usually with the SBA, they bring money to the table as well.
Yeah.
Right, so, normally you have to bring 10% to the table to get an SBA loan, and then with the number of guarantees, et cetera, which we need to look at, they may want personal guarantees from this group.
Yeah.
That's a real thing that we need to think about. So, then they would bring potentially more, so if we say 250, right, I mean, that's 10%, that fund gets big quickly. So we have to dig into that and really explore that. So it's a great idea, it should be put on the table. I think there's just a ton of design decisions that we need to really explore. And I think the pitch deck was just to get the group to start to think about, yes, this sounds great, yes, this is something, but there's a significant amount of risk associated with doing this, and a ton of work that will cost money. If we want to go down, I think we need to size all of that before we really make the decision. So I guess my question to this group would be, what is a timeline that we're thinking? Because this, I will say right now, I cannot have this ready by August.
Why not? No.
Yeah,
I mean, this would take a long time.
Yeah.
This is a significant project, so I would think that we would have to budget something along the lines of 4 or 5 months for research. So that as a group, we can get our heads around what the more narrowly focused issues are within the larger rubrics that you have at this point. And look at other models, and also look at the distinctions. And when you lend money, and you're doing it for a living, then there's a whole set of rules that apply to you. If you're a bank, there's a lot of rules that apply that don't. If we call it a fund, or it's something that we're doing, one way or the other, we're capping our risk at the amount of the fund, or whatever percentage of our liquid cash we say at any particular time is going to be available for decision making and for allocating. But the know your customer stuff, the anti-money laundering, all of those things apply at almost every level, because they're federal rules.
Every.
And then at the state limits how you can operate as a lender depending on how you're lending and to whom you're lending. So we wouldn't be doing household and consumer lending. So a lot of the really onerous stuff would not apply. But we would have to understand who would want our PGs and when we would be in a position, willing to actually give them, which I would assume would be never. But what would be required of the recipients of the loans as well, if we're partnering with the SBA or whatever.
So we have been talking about this for a very long time. It is a very, very big idea. It's certainly right on mission for what we are designed to do. I think that I think that there's a reason why Columbia Economic Development had, the majority of their annual report every year is the lending success stories that they have, so that they're a really well-oiled machine in doing this. There's a lot we need to learn. I do think that the board is positioned currently with our own funding and our board talent to actually do the hard work of figuring this out. I think it's worth our time and effort, and I think, now that we have Jess on board, as executive director, I think that time she can help a great deal in that regard. I think it's a really worthwhile thing. I think it would put us right in the front of the community, in the business community, and I think the survey is a great way to start. But I like the idea of looking at who's been successful doing this, other economic development people. I think that's a good idea. Or organizations like that.
So I think, let's do this. Let's target September
Okay.
to be, because we want to align to some of the other timelines that we mentioned earlier in the meeting.
Okay.
No deep commitments on plan forward, stuff like that, but let's come back in September, in our September meeting. By then, we will have met with Martha.
Yeah.
We will have shaped a bit more of what we need to do, potential and additional research. I think we need to come with some material design decisions in that discussion as well.
Okay.
Meaning, one of those design decisions is going to need some collective work from this group around shaping what the quote unquote the mission statement of this fund would need to be. Meaning defining the target audience for, right? And I think that needs to be informed by the output of the business survey. So
The target audience,
the target audience. I
the
think so.
loans, yeah,
I think so.
okay.
Well, hopefully. So
Makes
still
sense.
a lot to continue to unpack, but so let's plan to come back in
Right.
September working with it.
Really good.
If I can add as well, I think, I'm going through this right now as well. I think something to consider that we can offer that doesn't cost any money to is the resources that we have. I think that could be a big part of it as well, is where, who, and how.
And that, so 100%, similar to what like Tom said as well, like that advisory component could be part of this broader offering. So maybe we don't limit it to, hey, we got some money that we can lend out and charge you a premium for it and potential fee too, right? But also like making ourselves available.
We have resources.
We have resources, and defining what that offering model, that offering kind of suite would look like, I think would be important.
When we were working on John L. Edwards and we were trying to do our, what was it called?
Due diligence.
Due
No, not the due diligence. The pro forma.
Oh.
Columbia Economic Development gave us 10 hours with a gentleman who does pro forma work, and that's a good example of what we could be doing too.
Yeah.
To that point.
Okay, but they're full-time
It
resources.
sounds like a VC.
Yeah.
Not only do you get our money, but you get us.
And we're gonna be all over you. Okay, no, thank you very much. I think this is really helpful. It's a good jumping off point, for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
Great.
Okay. Yay, thank you. You have to go. That's okay. We're at that point. Anything else? Is there anything anyone wants to bring up at this point in the meeting? Besides, I just want to get everybody's feeling on our 4 o'clock meeting to 4 o'clock.
That's fine.
Is that good with people, most people?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion to move the meeting to 4, our monthly meeting to 4
For
p.m.?
July.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Paul, second, Britt, all in favor? Thank you, Kyle, for
So
that.
what happens to the big lunch, our annual lunch?
What do you mean, our
He's looking for a free drink. He's looking for a free.
Now it's an annual cocktail.
Cocktail.
Okay, I just have to give this to Kyle before he goes.
The midday meeting, do you want to move?
I don't know if they had a chance to.
It is. Okay, so, yes, and
Also,
I found this in my archive.
I always think she would just.
We need some.
4 o'clock, I could say
It's more like
Thank you.
If you have.
It's-
a-
We approved that.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's not
Yeah, but we have that. So our next meeting will be August.
I was trying to. Last week. Vacation, right?
Oh, it's August, it's July.
Our next meeting is July 22nd at 4 PM. So make a note in your calendars that we're moving to 4 PM now, okay? Thank you all for your time. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
John, second. All in favor?
Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
And welcome to Ryan.
Yes. And welcome, Ryan.
In my mind, it's just always just under that.
Right, this year you were at the party.
This is something John, you should take care of. Just give it back to Ryan.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to
So,
avoid.